What is up, guys? It's me, JB, back again, and this time I'm going to be doing another review today. It's not a wooden item or a model item. Well, I might be comparing it with a model item, but it's a ERTL official item. It's very rare and hard to get. I don't know if anyone's done this before, but I've seen this in numerous videos. It's the ERTL Murdoch. Now, Murdoch was a character who was introduced in the Season 7 episode Peace and Quiet, and he was brought into the official merchandising that same year. I think it was 2004, maybe not 2003, but I think it was a year later he was released in the merchandise, like the ERTL one you see here. He was brought into Sodor to help with the heavy goods work on the main line, and he has a tendency for peace and quiet, but can get really stressed when it gets too noisy for him. So, enough of the chit-chat. Everyone thinks that Murdoch is a super ultra rare character, and I think he is one of my favourites because I love the 9F class along with the Evening Star. But we'll get to that in a bit after I talk about the ERTL model. So, Murdoch, this is the ERTL Murdoch, and I also have a Tommy Murdoch as well, but he's all like in trashy condition. There are two other models I want to get, like Wooden and Hornby. They are both ultra rare. Murdoch's like one of the rarest characters in the franchise, and Hornby is not going to be a very easy one. It's going to be like a lot of money, but compared to his Hornby Evening Star, which I have here, I'll get to that a bit later. So, Murdoch came out in the ERTL range the same year it was discontinued. As you can tell, these little coupling hooks, he has these U-hook couplings, was when ERTL changed them in 2002. These were like just one on both ends. But in 2002 they changed it to U-hooks to make the couplings a little bit stronger so they prevent the other hooks breaking. Although the paint is very crisply applied to his ERTL model, and it's very shiny and detailed in ways. Despite him being the longest of the other models compared to Spencer and Gordon and Flying Scotsman and Henry as well, he's actually quite difficult to maneuver. He doesn't have a detachable tender unlike his other ranges. It's also the same with the Nakiyoshi models. I mean, ERTL, D'Agostini on my first ones. Yeah, I know those merchandises, many of them don't have detachable tenders. So, looking at this model, you can see he has a very nice, accurate face. Well, I could call it accurate, but it's not very quite accurate. I mean, look at that mouth. It doesn't look very much like the counterparts of his TV series model. A side-on view, very nicely well detailed. There are some aspects of the model which I don't like, which I'll compare to the Hornby Evening Star in a minute. In the back. And you can tell it's quite long. I'm using Hornby Clockwork track, just so you know. And as you can see, it's day 2004, the year ERTL discontinued the range. So, with Hornby Clockwork track, Murdoch runs quite fine on straight track, but when you come to points, he actually gets a bit stuck. I don't have any ERTL or Take 'em Long or Take 'em Play or Adventures track to run him, but because, I don't know. Maybe I might get some in the future, but when it comes to curves, it's quite very hard to maneuver. Now this way, and he has a tendency to derail and can sometimes fall over, which is a rather long length issue wise. I know it's really hard, but ERTL never made any detachable tenders. Probably they get lost quite easily, much like D'Agostini. In another word, I had the ERTL turntable to measure him lengthwise. I would say he would probably just barely make it on there. I don't know, but I don't have any of the track to run him on. I don't have any track or sets to make him run round or that sort. I mean, now coupling wise, some of the couplings raw in stock, if he was to couple up something, I'll just get something quickly. Now, because Murdoch has this U-hook coupling, it can couple up to anything on the front. So, for instance, if I couple up Thomas, it can just barely fit about in. Although it does have a tendency to actually like damage the front coupling. There, I also have a Annie, and she can fit fine. And I also have a Henry's Forest log car. He fits just about fine. Oops. Then let's try the flatbed low wag loader. No problems at all. Let's try fuel tanker. He fits just fine. And when it comes to a truck, like the troublesome trucks, he fits okay. I experimented one with Fergus yesterday, but I think it damaged the coupling slightly, so I'm a bit scared it might happen again. The breakdown train, he looks okay. And we also have another coach, express coach wise. And Henrietta. Now this is the most scariest thing. I will not ever do that again. Now, as you can see, I think if I didn't notice this, but I think the coupling just cracked. Holy crap. Oh, sorry if I swore. I mean, oh my god. But let's try the last one with old slow coach. He can just barely get in. So I've tested a few examples of rolling stock with Murdoch, and I'm a little bit worried that it might damage them even further. So I think the most suitable things to add to him is probably some flow wagons, or anything with U-hooks probably are more suited for him. So I would say just be careful when inserting them, because they might break the couplings and you don't want to keep wasting your money just going to buy new ones. That's what I'm saying. So just be careful what you couple up to anything pre 2002 rolling stock wise. So, as I was saying, make sure you find some suitable models to couple up to Murdoch, because if you actually find something with a U-hook to couple that on the front, so if I can find one for instance, I mean, it's not going to be easy, so give me a few minutes. So I found one. I found Fergus, experienced coupling up. He's okay. Even though I experienced it with other models, they can tend to damage the hook in some way, or the pins. Well, not the pins really, but for instance, Gordon coupling up to express coaches can be really a struggle without breaking the pins, because you've got to be super ultra careful with them. Just don't try and do it too fast, or you'll also damage it in some way. So enough said. Let's move on to a comparison with a model, I think, to his real-life bases, the Hornby Evening Star. And there are quite a lot of differences between the ERTL Murdoch and the Hornby Evening Star. I would say, while the ERTL Murdoch seems strongly based on the TV series model, the Evening Star itself is based on its real-life bases. Starting off from the front, you'll notice there are a few differences. For instance, Murdoch's ERTL model has a single funnel, whereas Evening Star has the double chimney funnel. His face is a little bit much lower level to the top of the white running board, whereas his smoke box door looks a little bit taller. Well, even though they're different colours, I don't care if it doesn't matter. While they have different couplings in any way, I would say there are some other differences. But anyways, now compared to on the side-on views, you'll notice that the Hornby Evening Star has like a almost rectangular square around his number, but there's a little bit of a curve at the edge on the right bottom of his lining. And if you compare it to Murdoch's ERTL model, his lining is an arrow facing on both ways to the front. The cab windows are another flaw issue as well. His ERTL model has quite big windows. If you compare it to his Hornby model, you'll notice that they're almost the same, but on the opposite, they have switched the way round. Now the cab it looks quite shorter than the smoke box. It looks a bit too big, I would say, as well as the whistles. They look a bit too tall. Notice the dome is another difference. The dome on the Hornby Evening Star is in the in front of the second line from the back, while it's on the fourth gold line. Now the last thing is the tender is looking not much like the Hornby model. There are a little few cab windows at the back, while his ERTL model does not. The tender looks... Now, the back of the coal bunk, I mean behind the coal bunk, there are two little cylinder bunks. I think one of them is for the water cap. I don't think it's present on this model because the dome's in the center, and I think it would have been probably too hard to mold it onto his model. And his tender has cab line on the back, while it doesn't. There's also a step ladder, and handrails on both sides, but they're not present. I think the lining is always the same, but it's square. On this one is curved, but on his Hornby on the Hornby tender, it's actually curved. I also forgot to add that Murdoch has a little red square thing on both sides, probably to secure the buffer beam in place, which doesn't feature on the Hornby model. And the sidewalls as well are different because they're not connected on his ERTL model. On his real actual bases on the Hornby Evening Star, they're connected together. And there's also a little square silver metallic thing, shiny thing that holds it in, but it's not present. And also I forgot to point out he has step ladders underneath his cab, and if you compare it to the Hornby model, they're connected on the tender, not the locomotive. Well, I did my best to review this item in one way. How would I rate the ERTL Murdoch? I would say a 9 out of 10. Should you get it? I reckon you should. If you're an ERTL collector, then yes, definitely. But be aware that there are going to be very rare and expensive and hard to find. The ones from 2002, between 2002 and 2004, are going to be super ultra rare, like the characters from Series 6 and 7. Like, you're going to have to find one that's good deal, but again, if there is one cheap, it might be in tatty condition, while my model is in pristine condition. A little bit of a quick story. I got this model of Murdoch for Christmas in 2013. And that was the only ERTL model I got for Christmas that time. So, I also have a Tommy Murdoch as well, which I got back around 2004. Same year merchandise started to come out. And that time when ERTL discontinued. Yeah. If I get enough track, I might be able to do a remake. If you've ever seen Super Fast Windmills Mighty Murdoch, go check that out. I mean, should you recommend Murdoch? Yes, you should. Even though despite a few flaws with the ERTL model, I'd say go pick it up. So, again, thank you all for watching. This is me signing out, and have a good day. Choo-choo.